Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, TheRumpledOne, coming to you on Thursday, June the 24th. The year's 2021. Let's talk trading. Your thoughts when in a trade, part 3 with Walmal. These videos are for educational purposes only. Your results may differ from mine and differ from Walmal. So, Walmal, we ran out of time yesterday. So, your thoughts when in a trade.
Well, yeah, we did run out of time. That video yesterday just flew by. I couldn't believe how quick it was. I was actually caught off guard when you said we were out of time. but but in any case, I think we were just talking about what is the process that goes through your mind when you before you get into a trade, and then the process of what you do once you're in the trade. Because I don't know about everybody else out there, but what I try to do is my thoughts. I try to go and keep them around, the goal. And the goal being to go and trade well. My goal isn't to necessarily make money as much as it is to go and trade well. And before I catch flack on that, let me explain. Yes, obviously, the absolute goal of all of this is to go and make money. But I'm not looking at a particular trade to go and make me money. I'm looking to go and trade well. I'm looking to go and make sure I'm following my rules and I'm looking at all my trades, and whether I'm about to get into a trade, whether I'm in a trade, that I'm doing everything the way I'm supposed to be doing it. I'm looking left. Is there something here that I'm going to run into problems with? Are all the criteria met in order to get into a trade? Are all the criteria met to get out of a trade? That to me is much more important, because I know statistically over time, and I feel like I'm a broken record sometimes, but I know statistically over time, as long as I go and do that, I will make money. So then my idea doesn't have to worry about, am I making money? Sure, that's the ultimate goal. But the thing is, if I'm doing all those other things, then I will make money. And it's just as simple as that. It's sort of like, let's say you're in business or something like that, and this is a business, and let's say you're selling widgets, a lot of times you go and make sure that whatever you're doing when you're selling those widgets is the right thing. And as long as you're doing the right thing all time in and time again, you will make money in the end, and you'll do well and you'll profit. So are you making sure that you buy your widget at the lowest price that you can possibly get? Are you making sure that you're controlling your inventory so you're not in a situation where you got too much inventory on the shelf and now you got a cash flow problem? Are you making sure that you're going and selling the widget at a price that makes sense? Maybe you've got something in your plan that you're willing to go and sell at a lesser price than normally, because you know that this is a client that you could go and make more money on. That could be part of your plan. In trading, we have very similar things. Actually, I want to add one more thing. Are you making sure that you're getting enough downtime and enough rest time? Because that's going to affect the way you think, whether you're selling widgets or whether you're trading. And that's what I'm thinking about is, am I making sure that I'm doing all those things, in terms of trading? Am I making sure that, yes, I've met all the criteria to enter the trade? I've made sure that I looked left. I've made sure that I'm not running into a wall. I've made sure that I'm not overextended, so I don't have too much quote-unquote inventory. Those are the things that I'm thinking about. Am I doing all those things right? And if I get into a trade and it goes with me, that's wonderful. Okay, now I've got a little bit extra equity there. Does it make sense to continue with the trade? Does it make sense maybe to even add into the trade, to go and stack on, as we say? Those are the things that I'm thinking about, and just trying to go and maximize my profit and at the same time minimize my losses.
Right. Now, you said something about rules. How often do you break your rules?
Unfortunately, intentionally break my rules, probably not very often. Unintentionally break my rules, quite often. Okay, and here's what I mean by the difference between intentionally and unintentionally. Intentionally means I look at the chart and I say, I got rule 1, I got rule 2, I got rule 3. All of them say, do not enter the trade here, and I enter anyway. Okay, I generally speaking almost never go and take that trade. I do, and you can call me out on that because you've seen me do it, you know. But I for the most part, when you look at the number of trades I take during the week, you know, generally in a week I'll take 80 trades during the week, something along those lines, and I'll break that. I'll go and actually go against that maybe once, and I think going against it once in 80 trades is probably pretty close to not ever doing it, or it's real close anyway. Unintentionally, on the other hand, is when you think you've gone and checked everything and you didn't check everything. And so you wind up going and either entering a trade, okay, and next thing you know, you're in a bad situation, or you could be in a good situation. But that's an unintentional rule break, and so I guess that happens, a lot more frequently because you think that you got a grasp on everything, you think you've got a handle on everything, and you just miss it, you blow it. It's like, it's type of thing. I know the high of last hour was at X, and for whatever reason, you didn't go back and look, and check yourself on it, and you have a line drawn on your chart. This is where I'm going to go and enter long, and because you didn't check, next thing you know, you've actually traded into a wall, and now you got a problem that you got to deal with.
Speaking of which, we're at the top of the hour with the Walmal lines at 20 to the south and 30 to the north. I've been really thinking ever since we did the place your bets, and I really think that, looking at trading from as a bet versus as trading has cleared a few things up because, we're talking about, your thoughts when you're in a trade right now. And if you place your bet, and what I mean by that is you make your entry and then you say, exit the trade with a profit here or exit the trade with a loss there. When you do that, there's no reason to even watch the trade. It's already been placed. So you can basically not even have any emotions until after the that trade has ended or that bet has ended. On the other hand, if you trade like we trade, where you're living and dying by every tick, that's where you really have to get a hold of your brain management. You really have to have good brain management because there's so many decisions or so many that you're looking at. Like you said, you have to look left. Does it do this? Does it do that? I mean, you really have to have almost you really should have a written plan, a written checklist, and it may have 5, 10, 20 different items that you're constantly scanning. And that's one of the reasons I write, dashboards and multimeters that are, I can just look. If it's a sea of red and I'm thinking about going long, it's like, do you really want to do that? Chances are the answer is no.
Exactly. Unless you go and see something on the chart that just makes sense to go long on that particular case, and that does happen. But you're right, 9 times out of 10, that is not the smart thing to do. I'll modify that. I won't say 9 times out of 10. I'll say 999 times out of 1,000, it's not the right thing to do. But the reality is, you're right, and it's one of those things where, you make your checklists, and have those checklists in front of you. And we talked about this. We haven't talked about this in a while. Maybe we should go back to it. But this whole idea, you write your rules out. And one of the things that we should do is every day before you even start trading, read your rules. Your rules, in all seriousness, your rules should be completely memorized. You should be able, somebody goes and asks you a question, what are your rules for getting into a trade? What are your rules for getting out of a trade? What are your rules for trade management? What are your rules for money management? You should be able to immediately, in a very, very succinct way, spit them out, okay? and then but on top of that, what you need to do is you need to actually go back and re-look at them, because it's funny, because you look at the astronaut program, and you think about Apollo 13 and what happened there, and these guys trying to figure out how they're going to get back, and NASA going and doing all the things they're doing. I guarantee you that in that room of all those really smart people, you had the people coming up with some really outlandish ideas, which you need. That's how you go and learn, and that's how you go forward. But you also had in that room a bunch of people that did nothing more than make sure that those outlandish ideas don't go outside the lines that will absolutely cause catastrophic pain. And that's what we need to do with our trading as well. And that's why I like to go, my rules are written down on a piece of paper. Sure, I went and typed them up, but they're sitting on an 8.5 piece of paper laying on my desk right in front of me right this second. They're right there, okay? And every time I go to press the button to go long, the rules are right there in front of my face, just to remind me, are you breaking your rules, or are you keeping to them? And that's what I'm thinking about, and that's constantly what I'm trying to do, is just make sure that I'm constantly thinking about what the parameters are that I've set up and put in place.
Yeah, because I noticed our verbose friend posted on, I think one of our videos, I think it was yesterday's video, talking about the Walmal method. And, there's just one thing, your thoughts. If you're having a bunch of conflicted thoughts, or thoughts that this doesn't work, or thoughts, this always goes against you, this method, or whatever method you're employing, might not be the one for you. The method, whatever you do, should almost come naturally, and as you do it, it should be a lot easier. You shouldn't be straining like with the Walmal method after, say, 30 days. If you're still struggling after 30 days of trading it just it might not fit you.
You're exactly right, and I've said this over and over again. I'll say it again. And the thing is that, each and every one of us as traders are individuals. We're people. We're individuals. We have individual personalities. We have individual strengths. We have individual weaknesses. And knowing that, what you need to do is find the method that is going to go and play into your strengths, and at the same time mitigate your weaknesses, and that's what we need to do. And I know people don't want to hear this, because everybody wants to have this, ready in a box, jack in a box type of thing, where literally I go and do what rule A, B, C, D, and at the end of the week, I'm walking away with 100 pips in my bank. Okay, that's what everybody wants. I want that too. I've been looking for that for 20 years, Well, I'm going to tell you right now, it does not exist. But what does exist is ideas where you can go and make money. And then what you need to do is, a traders, we need to sit down individually and say, okay, these are my strengths, these are my weaknesses, this is what gets me all pent up, this is what gets me going, this is where these are trades that are easy to take, these ones are not so easy to take, and maybe take that idea or that strength and turn that into something where I can go and make money on it. Perfect example of that is like, the rat trade. I know you love taking rat trades. For me, it's just, I see money, and I've made money off your rat trade. But at the same time, it's not a trade for me, because, there's so many times where you get into the trade and the price just hasn't stopped extending in that direction. So you take a loss on it. It should be a no big deal, right? If you got your stop losses set right, shouldn't be any big deal at all. Fine, you go and take a 5, 10, 15 pip stop loss. So what? The potential on it is making 50 or 60 pips. I shouldn't be upset about that. But for whatever reason, it just messes me up psychologically, and I start making poor trade decisions after that. So guess what? I don't trade anymore. I don't trade the rat trade, unless I get a rat trade that happens around, some other method that I do feel comfortable trading. And then I may use it as a confirmation, but I don't go out and look for rat trades. Whereas, the next guy down the street, he could go out and look for rat trades and make a ton of money.
You're just a Yale student.
Maybe so. Hey,
anyway,
I went to a state university. I didn't go to any of those highfalutin schools.
Yeah. Well, guess what? The fastest 15 minutes in trading is up once again. So, fellow traders, I hope that helps you with some of the brain management, and we'll probably continue this subject sometime soon, if not next week, because I think there's a lot to be said about it. So, just remember, when you sit down at your trading platform, it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. So go out there and drain the banks. This is the Rumpled One, over and out.